What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. We got a different view set up for us tonight. We're already on the runway, baby. We got some recurrent training going on here. What's going on, OC? So we are going to be doing all sorts of fun stuff. Rejected takeoffs, engine failure procedures, complex engine failure departure procedures. Maybe do a couple HGSA III approaches with some really nasty weather. We're going to do it all tonight. What's up, Tucker? Good to see you, buddy. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So we are going to jump into the flight deck.
On runway.
And we're pretty much going to start it off. So first things first, we're going to practice an RTO. So we're loaded up here for a flight over to San Diego. I'm going to let this baby get all the way up to right before V1, and then we're going to go ahead and do a practice an RTO. We've got everything kind of loaded up the way I need for an iPad here. So we are not using love cards for this, unfortunately, because we don't have a flight set up, but we do have our iPad all loaded up here. So we've went ahead and calculated our weights on the iPad here, and we're pretty much ready to go. So we're going to get started. Like I said, first things first, we're going to do an RTO takeoff here. So let's go and get the auto throttle armed. Everything is set on my end. We're going to go ahead and do the before takeoff checklist. Departure plan not required. Attendant notification complete. Electrical generators on. Anti-ice off. PAX auto bleeds engine on APU off. Start switch is left continuous. There we go. APU is off. Flaps. CDU 5 indicates 5. Green light. Start levers are idle and the recall is checked. Before takeoff checklist is complete. All right, we're going to get clear for takeoff. And like I said, once we got V1 of 141, once we get to about 135, we're going to go ahead and reject and practice a rejected takeoff. All right, the brakes are released, and we are ready to go here. The only thing I didn't do real quick is I got to get a trim. 485. We got speed trim because we got flaps out. Beautiful.
26
okay,
right.
It's time for an RTO.
On runway 26 right.
All right. All right, so takeoff thrust 97.8. Again, we're looking for an RTO here. So once we get to 135, we're going to go ahead and stop the takeoff. 80 knots. We'll say we're going to get a predictive wind shear warning is going to be the reason. Stop. Go ahead and get rid of the brakes there. There we go. We'll come to a stop. The auto brakes off, and pretty much assess the situation from here. We're going to go ahead, call, let them know we're stopped on the runway, which is true. Check. We got the speed brakes up and everything. We've come to a stop on the runway here. So that was successful. We're going to go ahead and taxi off the runway, head on back to 26 right, run the same numbers. What happened, man? And, nice. So now we're going to go ahead and, that was successful. We'll call, like I said, that was a, we're going to call that a rejected takeoff for a predictive wind shear warning. We would have to go ahead and we're going to taxi off the runway, clean up the airplane. Our brakes would absolutely be hot, so we're going to need to head back over. We need someone to come over and get brake temperature readings from us. We would plug it into Love Cars, and Love Cars, we'd tell it at approximately what speed we rejected, and it would give us an idea of how long we have to wait before we could taxi back out. So we've got that taken care of, and we're good there. So like I said, we would taxi back. We'd clean up the airplane, and we're gonna head on back down to 26 right. And heading back down there, we're gonna go ahead and reset everything, and we're gonna get ready to do an engine failure here. We'll do an engine failure at V1 in this departure, and we're gonna fly the engine failure procedure. So while we're taxiing down there, we'll go ahead and review it. We're gonna keep the same numbers set up for this. Once we get down to the runway, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm concerned about doing an RTO. I don't know if it's going to have the brake temps still super high, so when we retract the gear, we might actually get a secondary warning there. But basically, we're going to have an engine failure on departure. It's going to be, we'll call it, let's lose engine number 1 on the departure here. So we have an engine failure. Our EFP for 26 right. This is what we brief before every flight. What's up, Airliners X? So we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna go ahead and fail number 1 at that is those are the colors that are closest to what a Southwest 800 looks like. It's just something the VA put together, and those are the closer colors according to them. So if an engine failure at V1 to below 4,000, which is what we're going to get here, we'll fly runway heading until reaching 2.9 DME from Las Vegas. We'll make a right turn heading of 035. We'll fly that till 13 DME, and then we're going to make a right turn to heading 100. If we have an engine failure at or above 4,000 and before cells, we'll just hold at cells, and engine failure at or after cells continue on the SID. That is going to be our procedure here. All right, let's go ahead and reset. It's going to be a flap 5 departure. All right, we're going to have flaps 5 good to go here. We're going to reset the airplane here to basically what we need for the departure here. Make sure everything is good. So they used to, yes, that used to be their company. That used to be a company option for them. But they did that to maintain fleet commonality with the 737-300 at the time. All right, so now real quick, we're going to go ahead and set up our engine failure here. So we're going to go to engine programmed. Let's do this when we get a little bit closer. We need engine, we're going to lose engine 1. So it's going to be an engine 1. We'll do a V1 cut, activate it, and execute it. All right, so we've got our engine We got a engine number 1 V1 cut ready to go. Let's go ahead and run before takeoff checklist. Departure plan is not required. The 10-0 notification is complete. Electrical, we got generators on. Any ice off. PAX auto bleeds engine on, APU off. Start switch is left continuous, APU is off. Flaps CDU 5. Indicates 5 green lights. Start levers are idle, and the recall is checked before takeoff checklist is complete. All right, we are going to be cleared for takeoff on 26 right. 259. Quit climb via the SID. We got all that set. Let's go ahead and get ready for our V1 cut. All right, runway 26 right is verified. Final is clear. This is the closest thing I can figure out as to how to actually do recurrent training and practice actual engine out stuff. It'd be really cool if I actually had an instructor to actually set all this stuff up, but I have to do it myself, and I'm kind of already know what we're gonna get. So, all right, this is a engine number 1 V1 cut. Let's go and do it.
On runway
Set takeoff
2,
thrust
6
97.8.
right.
Knots.
Rotate.
Right, let it go. Alright, so let's go ahead and state malfunction. We've got a number 1 engine failure. Alright, we're going to fly runway heading. It's reaching 2.9 DME from Las Vegas, and then we're going to start working. We'll start figuring it out from there. We're go ahead and accelerating. We're going to fly. Let's get runway heading here, so let's get heading cell. Okay. Fly runway heading here until 2.9 DME. All right, there's our acceleration, so we can go ahead, set speed, flaps 1. Got climb thrust, 2.9 DME. We're gonna make a right turn heading of 035. So, we have an engine fire or severe damage separation. So, auto throttle. Let's also go ahead and get the autopilot on here. Let's get everything set up here so we can start handling this. Alright. So, auto throttle disengaged. Disengaged. Thrust lever infected engine. Number one is confirmed, closed. Engine start lever for the affected engine. Number 1. Engine start lever number 1 confirmed. It's confirmed. Cut off. All right, we've got engine fire switch confirm pull. So we're gonna go ahead, grab this, and just pull it. We don't have an overheat light, so we can go ahead and leave that the way it is. Let's go flaps up. Let's clean up the airplane. We're going to fly 035 until 13 DME, and then it's going to be a right turn heading 100. And then we don't have that, so we're going to have to go to the QRH Chapter 7, Section 14. So we need QRH Chapter 7, Section 14. So we've got 714 here. All right, so we have an engine failure or shutdown. So once again, do an engine shutdown only when flight conditions allow. We're in good shape here. We're climbing up to flight level 190. We're in good shape. We're on a 035 heading. Auto throttle disengaged. The thrust lever on the affected engine is confirmed closed. Engine start lever number 1 cut off, and that's cut off. Pack switch on the affected side. Oops. Off. APU is available for start. It is. Let's go ahead and start the APU. Alright, we're going to go ahead and level off at 7,000. Transponder is going to go into TA only, which it is. Very good. And we're going to have to go to the one engine inoperative landing, 726. So we're going to work on that. We're going to level off here at 7,000. I'm going to go ahead and accelerate now to 220 knots. Once again, we're going to keep flying this heading until we reach 13 DME, and then it's going to be a right turn heading 100. Then we'll start working out the arrival. So we've got 7.26, one engine inoperative landing. So we're going to plan a flap 15 landing. We're going to set VREF 15, VREF ice. We're not going to need that because there's definitely no ice here. Maintain 230 knots. I'm happy with that. We'll maintain VREF plus 15 plus 5 knots, or VREF ice plus 5 knots on minimum for final approach. We have to go ahead and start getting ready for everything. So we need a descent checklist here. APU is up. There we go. So we've got to, let's go ahead and set the landing altitude of 2150. And then we're 7,000 is where we're at now. There we go. There's 13 DME. There's a right turn of 100. All right. Descent checklist. Pressurization. We got a landing altitude of 2150 is set. Recall. We've got a LEC, and that's for the #1 drive light there. That's good. We can go ahead and cancel that. Auto brake is going to be off. We need to go ahead and set the landing data. So coming down to the FMC here, departing, arriving. It's going to be the ILS Zulu 26 left from Prino. All right, we will take that. Let's go ahead and set a VREF here. So we got a gross weight of 148.4. So we got to go ahead and get some landing numbers in here. So we're going to do a VREF plus 15. Our VREF of flap 15 is 155, plus 5 is 160. That's going to be good. We've got that set. So we're flying a heading of 100 now. That's going to put us right out towards where we need to be here. The approach briefing here. So let's go ahead and set up the ILS to runway 26 right. So we're going to take the ILS Zulu. Runway 26 left here is what we're doing. We need 111.5. All right, so we've got 111.5. We do need to balance fuel, so let's go ahead and get the crossfeed valve open, and let's go ahead and start balancing fuel that way. I believe we turn off those fuel pumps so we start taking fuel from the left side, and we're going to have to start balancing this here. We're going to fix that imbalance, and then once we do, we're going to leave it. Okay, so we are working on that fuel imbalance there. The approach brief, so this is where we would end up getting radar vectors around. So we're going to stay on this heading for a while. They'll probably take us out, and then we can kind of do a box pattern as we start briefing everything here. Localized is 111.5 with a final approach course of 259. I didn't. I know, did they release like a different variant of that or something like that? Didn't they release like a smaller variant of that airplane? Glide slope at Reelan, 3,800 feet on a 3-degree glide slope is checked. ILS DA is going to be 2269, so we're going to go ahead and set that in the barrow. All right, 2269. If we go missed, we'll climb 3,200 or right turn to 6,000, heading of 080 and inbound on the Boulder, 287 of Boulder. Continue to climb and hold to 6,000 is going to be our missed approach altitude there. Landing here on runway 26 and 26 left. We'll land 26 left. We'll probably end up vacating towards the end, and then we'll stop once we're off the runway and have fire come out, check out the airplane, and make sure everything is hunky-dory and kosher with the airplane there. Perfect. We are fixing that fuel imbalance. So we should be in good shape there. Looking through the rest of our QRH. Go-around procedure. So we'll do the normal go-around procedure, except we're going to use flaps 1. So if we end up having to go around, we'll go ahead and execute the go-around and select flaps 1. We'll maintain VREF 15 plus 5 knots until reaching flap retraction altitude. So we'll go ahead, set climb thrust, maintain VREF 15 plus 5, fly that till we actually get to the flap retraction altitude, which is 3,200 feet, and then we're going to go ahead and accelerate, get the flaps back up to flap 1 and start working on everything there. We're going to limit bank angle to 15 degrees when airspeed is less than VREF 15 plus 15, or the minimum maneuver speed, whichever is lower. Accelerate to flaps 1 maneuvering speed before flaps retraction. So we'll maintain flaps 15 until we get to 3,200 feet. At that point, we'll go ahead and accelerate and clean up the airplane and start working on getting the flaps all set up here. The approach checklist, altimeters is 2983. Let's go ahead and set up. Let's go ahead and set our standby. All right, 2983 is set. We need the ground proximity flap inhibit switch. So ground proximity flap inhibit switch. Flap inhibit, and we're going to go ahead and turn that off. So there we go. Perfect. We're in good shape there. Looking at... let's take a look here really quick. So we have a maximum landing weight of 146.3, so we are above our maximum landing weight. Let's go ahead and pretend like we're just going to burn off fuel at this point. So let's go ahead and let's change our landing weight here. So we've got... So that gives us 36.8, so we're going to be in good shape there. Flap 1549 plus 5 is 155. All right, perfect. We are ready to come on in, so we're going to go ahead and start getting vectors back around here. Again, I'm going to limit the bank angle to 15 degrees no matter what. This way there's no issues. We're going to go ahead and fly heading 180 for vectors back to 26 right. All right, we're going to keep that turn going. We'll fly heading of... keeping the right turn heading to a heading of 290, and we're going to use that to join towards the localizer here. Maintaining about 230 knots, which is fine right now. We're going to go ahead and looking at the ILS here. Prino's 8,000, Larry's 6,500. So let's go ahead and go down to 6,000, and we'll do that when we get just a little bit closer. take Preno. Start cleaning up everything here. Preno 259. There we go. It does not have force feedback, unfortunately. It is. It does have basically gas springs in it to have some sort of feel to it, but it doesn't have force feedback, unfortunately. All right, we're turning back towards the field here. All right, we're gonna go ahead direct to Preno. Let's get LNAV. Yep, we're just going to maintain this altitude right here, and we'll just be cleared the approach from 7,000. I have a sneaky suspicion that when we get on the approach and when we're about to land, there's accidentally going to be a car on the runway, which is going to force us to go around. I have a feeling that's going to happen, but we'll see. And then once we finish this one, this was a complex special EFP out of 2.6 right here in Las Vegas. However, once we finish this one, we're going to go to Reno. Reno has an extremely complex engine failure procedure, which we're going to practice and then come back around and land and do a flap 15 landing in Reno. We'll go ahead and brief that once we get closer for that, and then probably the plan after that is to get set up, and we're probably going to do a flap up landing as well. So one of the things that we're just watching here is the fuel right now. I've got the crossfeed valve open just to balance the fuel for us here. We'll maintain 220 now. That's one thing I got to watch, make sure I fix before we land. Yeah, we've gone over the approach criteria, and we'll, like I said, we'll get that imbalance cleaned up, and then I have a suspicion, sneaky suspicion, we're going to have to go around. We'll have to do a single engine go around to come back around and land. The main thing with the single engine go around again is we're going to maintain flap 15 setting until we actually get to our acceleration altitude of 3,200 feet. We'll fly VREF 15 plus 5 until the acceleration. At that point, we'll go ahead, once we get to 3,200 feet, we'll go ahead, drop the nose, accelerate, start cleaning out the airplane, go to flaps 1. All right, there's Preno. Go ahead and do approach. There's Vorlock. We're going to maintain 7,000 until capturing the glide slope. All right, we're going to start coming back to the flap up speed. It's going to go flaps 1. I have a feeling that we're not going to capture the glide slope up here. There's the glide slope. Alright, there's the glide slope. We're getting closer to that 4,500 pounds there to where we have to go ahead and turn off the crossfeed valve. We can turn on the fuel pumps again, but we're just waiting. We got 300 pounds to go. Missed approach altitude of 6,000 is set. And we're going to go ahead and configure everything just a little bit closer than, a little bit further out than we usually do. We're not going to wait to get so close to the airport, so we'll probably try to go be completely stabilized and everything. We're going to get the autopilot off nice and early so I can get used to flying this airplane only on one engine. Let's go ahead and go flaps 5. About 7 miles, we'll go gear down in 15 and we'll kill the autopilot and start getting a feel for this airplane, bring it on into Las Vegas. We are clear to land, all the lights are on. This is going to be a flap 15 landing, so we're going to be much faster than normal. All right, let's go and get gear down, flaps 15. All right, 154 is our desired approach speed. Let's go ahead and kill the autopilot, and let's get in there. My computer specs should be in the description below. You can see all of the specs for my computer in the description below. Alright, autopilot's off. To fly in this airplane this way. Alright, frontline checklist. Speed brake, arm green light, landing gear down 3 green, flaps 15 green light, frontline checklist complete. There's 1,000 feet. Sync rate is 900. Airspeed's 156. We're stable. Sync rate's going to be a little bit higher because we are so fast.
Approaching 26 left.
Deviating from the glide slope because we're following the Pappies.
Glide slope. Glide slope. Glide slope.
Sure as shit. Southwest 1347. We got one of the fire trucks is on the runway. We got to go ahead and go around. So we're going to go around. We're going to maintain flap 15, VREF +5. Got to go ahead and get that nose down. Get that fucking nose down, Dan. All right, let's go ahead. We got a positive rate. Let's go gear up. Really got to be careful. I got way too much nose up on that. Go ahead and accelerate. We're accelerating now to 3,200 feet. We're going to go ahead and fly runway heading. do this until 3,200 feet, then we're going to go ahead and go to flaps 1 and start accelerating. Just gonna fly this heading, it's fine. Alright, there's 3,200 feet. We're going to go ahead and start accelerating. So we're going to bug up, flaps 1. It's gonna go. We're gonna go into level change and heading cell, and we're just gonna maintain this heading for right now. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and get the autopilot back on. We're through 1,000, and we're gonna go ahead and clean up this airplane just because we are single pilot doing all this bullshit. For some reason, my flaps went to 2. There we go. We're going to go back to climb thrust now. We are accelerating to the flap up speed. Let's go and get that turn working. We're going to flatting 160 for now, and we're going to go ahead and climb and maintain 6,000. It's going to go flaps up. Alright, let's go ahead and turn that back on. So now we're nice, and now we've overcorrected, so we're doing that fuel ping pong that I didn't want to do. We got the climb now coming up to 6,000. Go ahead and keep that left turn going. We're going to fly heading of 080 to get back on the downwind. Alright, we should be good to come back in now. That time, one of the fire trucks that was coming out there to take care of us went past the hold short line. We had to go around. So it's going to be the ILS Zulu for 26 left from Prino again. Everything else is set. We're going to maintain 6,000 here on the climb. We're 5 for 6. We're going to go ahead and reselect a flap 15 VREF, which is once going to be 149. It's going to be 49 and 54 on final. This time I think we're going to land just fine. So something I got to be on the lookout for when we do end up having to go missed on a single engine. You got to be really careful with your pitch inputs. I got way too much pitch on that initial go around. Got the airplane way too slow. I'm sure I would have got busted for that pretty good. But that's why we're practicing. Alright, there's 6,210 knots. We'll fly this 6,000 till maybe just inside of Larry, and then we'll make the left turn around and get this airplane back lined up for an arrival into 26 left. So looking at the approach again, just rebriefing here just because we had to go around. It is the ILS for 26 left, 111.5, 259 set on both course selectors. Glide slope intercepted, reeling 3,800 feet on a 3-degree glide slope is checked. Landing runway 26 left. We'll go ahead and vacate at one of the high-speed stop there and let everybody come out and check us out before we either continue to the gate or have to evacuate or whatever we end up having to do. So. All right, we're going to maintain 6,000 all the way through. Just going to put that away, reset all of that. Gonna go ahead and do a descent checklist. Minimums are set. VREF and V target 4954 set. Auto brakes off. Recall. We've got the one electric that's for the number 1 drive light on there that all checks. We can go ahead and clear that. Master caution. Descent checks complete. At least it looks pretty outside. Alright, just inside of Larry, we're going to make that turn, maintaining 6,000. Something that's a little bit different for this as well is I have to get used to keeping a little more right aileron in. So because we've lost that left engine there, it really wants to, this airplane really wants to pull. So I got to remember, you know, we'd certainly see the yoke sitting like this. Of course, in my instance, I don't have that. So, but we're coming up on Larry here. Shand is 3,800 feet. Once we turn left, we're going to go ahead and go flaps 1 and start getting this airplane ready. Then once we turn final, we're going to change the bank selector to 15. Anytime we're at VREF 15 plus 5, we want to limit our bank angle to 15 degrees. All right, let's go ahead and fly heading of 350. Let's go ahead and clean this up here. We'll take it from Shand 259. Perfect. And there's going to be a left turn heading 290. Left turn to 290, join the localizer. Alright, we're about 10 out. Let's go ahead and go flaps 1. Everything that we do when we're flying single engine, it's just going to be much slower with everything that we do. There's Vorlock. And let's say we are now cleared for the approach. Perfect glide slopeness. Approach altitude of 6,000 is set. And down we head to runway 26 left. Alright, there's about 10 miles. Let's go ahead and go flaps 5. Single engine, again, we're just going to do everything just a little bit earlier than we usually would. We'll go to about 7 miles, and that's when we'll go ahead and drop the gear, go flaps 15, and fly that pretty much all the way in. If there's 7.5 in about 30 seconds, we'll go ahead and do it. It's a beautiful evening in Las Vegas. All right, let's go ahead and go gear down, flaps 15. And we are clear to land. All the lights are on B4. B4. All right, 4-lane checklist. Speed brake arm, green light. Landing gear down through green. Flap 15, green light. 4-lane checklist is complete. All right, let's go ahead and get the feel for the airplane. Autopilot's off. We want to maintain 154 knots coming right down the final. Our sync rate when we get to 1,000 feet might be a little bit steeper than normal just from our increased ground speed for the approach, just being flaps 15. To be a little bit higher than we're used to. Purposely start dropping just a little bit below the glide slope. We're going to follow the pappies pretty much all the way in. The glide slope gets a little too high for 2.6 left here, so we're going to start following the pappies in here. Like I said, so you're going to see the glide slope starting to drop a little bit below the glide slope. That is to be expected.
Glide slope.
There's the glide slope call. We're just going to ignore it. I'm full on expecting that call. Here's minimums. We're landing.
100. 50. 30. 10.
One reverse.
Three 3,000 feet remaining.
All right, we're going to go ahead and roll to the end here, and
2,000 remaining.
We'll go ahead and turn off the end, and then that's when we'd stop and have ARF come over and check it out and everything like that. While we do that, we're going to go ahead and set up the airplane just in case we need to evacuate. So we're going to go ahead, drop the flaps to 40, put the spoilers back down, and wait for ARF to get here. If anything happens this way, immediately I can go ahead and evacuate the airplane.
One 100 feet remaining.
Alright, and it's at this point we'd pretty much assess everything and kind of figure out what we've got going on. And yeah, I think everything is good. We got off the runway in time. Everything is good there. Perfect. Sweet. I was relatively happy with that there. I am going to go ahead and pull this really quick to kind of see how we did. So let's see if we grab... Well, land to there, you can kind of see kind of how we did here. So initially we did a rejected takeoff. You can see the rejected takeoffs there, and then we've got our engine failure here. Fly to 2.9 DME, right turn 035, fly that till 13 DME. Right turn heading 100, we came back in. That gave us plenty of time to run through all the checklists, everything, get this airplane back in, did the missed approach, and brought it back in, and got it right down on 2.6 left there, and we're off the end. Everything was really nice, and touchdown pretty much right where we want to, right past the Pappies there, happy with all that. So that was a good one there. I was pretty happy with that. We're going to go ahead and end that, and then we're going to reset here. We're going to go over to Reno. Well, actually, maybe to change it up, we'll go ahead and do a flap-up landing. We're going to try to use FSI panel for this. I haven't used... This is going to be my first time trying them out, so we are going to use them here. It's going to be a... we'll do... let's change the airport here. Let's do... oh, what are we going to do? Let's say... we'll go to Los Angeles. And we'll go ahead and do a flap-up landing here in Los Angeles. So we're going to spawn onto the runway here. We'll just spawn into... if we had to do a flap-up landing, I would assume we'd end up doing the longest runway in Los Angeles. So if we go ahead and check this out, go to the iPad really quick and act like we're doing a flight. Let's see here. If we were doing a flight from, let's say, Los Angeles or Las Vegas to Los Angeles, let's set all that up so we can get the charts all loaded up and get us kind of in our spot here. We'll figure out, we'll say, hey, we'll act like we're coming in, and then we've kind of figured out that we got a flap issue. For some reason, our flaps are stuck up. We cannot get them to come down. So we would do a flap-up landing, and we would do that on the longest runway available, which would be 25 right. So we'll set up for 25 right as our arrival runway. We're going to load up 25 right. We're going to get FSI panels set up, and I'll set it up to kind of do a left intercept, a long final left intercept to final. And basically what that'll do is that'll get us set up our airplane, get the airplane kind of all set up. I'm going to put it on heading select, most likely, and take it around really quick, do a quick box pattern with it, and make sure that we're totally ready. We're going to go through the checklists and make sure everything is ready to do a flap-up landing. At that point, we would then execute that maneuver, and that's what we're going to do here. Let's go ahead and get the QRH set up. Again, just like we... all flaps up landing, 9.4. So we've got everything set up here for an all-flap landing. We're going to use this QRH and walk. Going to go through it and get everything ready for us here. So we're going to load up here, and we're going to get FSI panel all set up and ready to go for us here. All right, I think we're good here. Pmdg, default auto brake off, flap 30, program FMC, direct runway. Okay, I think we should be in good shape there. We're going to try it out and see kind of how it goes. All right, let's go ahead and set the FMC up really quick on the runway here. We're going to go ahead and set the weights, and then that's all we need to do. Apparently, all we need to do is just tell FSI panel, hey, this is what I want you to do, and it's going to load the airplane up and do everything we need to do here. So let's go ahead and load the runway setting. All right, that's going to start to do stuff. Let's go ahead and fix the camera here. Perfect. All right, so we got status connecting, and it is connected. And we're going to get the airplane kind of set up, and then, yeah, we're going to work on doing a flap-up landing. So, like I said, whatever the malfunction is, we're just going to say the flaps were jammed. They are stuck it up. We've tried the alternate flap switch. Nothing is working. We are going to go ahead and set up our airplane properly here. So it's 8,600. And let's see. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can set this. I would assume probably not. We'll just leave the flaps up, which is fine. All right, let's go ahead and set the weights really quick for this. So fuel. We'll set up, let's call it 8,000 pounds. That's going to be plenty for us coming in on arrival.
Awareness.
And then the payload, I'm fine with 138. Let's actually do 127.5.
Right.
135.5. That's below our maximum landing weight. Our max landing weight is 46.3, so we're in good shape. Looks like everything is set up, so we should be able to just use the panel here. And get us all set up here. So we should be at Los Angeles. Runway is going to be 25 right, and it's going to be, let's do left-hand vectors for runway 25 right, 8 miles at 2,400 feet. That looks good. Let's go ahead and move the aircraft. So it is going to move the airplane for us. It's going to start setting up the airplane. I don't have to do anything. All right, so everything is ready. There we go. It's setting it all up. So again, it is just setting everything up. It's going to tell me when I can go ahead and get the airplane set. I am purposely moving this up to the flap-up maneuvering speed. So this way, when it comes time for us to let go of the airplane, then it is at the right speed. Okay. So we've got autopilot on. Let's go ahead and go ahead and get this airplane kind of set up the way I want. So we're going to do flaps up. Let's level change to 3,000. And basically all we're going to do is we're going to set up and we're going to come back around for the approach to runway 25 right into Los Angeles. We're going to be practicing a flap up, so no flap landing. Set the airplane up the way we want it set up. perfect. Everything is set. The airplane's in good shape. It's on its way up to 3,000. We're on MCP speed. And we're in all told. Flight directors, everything's set the way we need. Okay, perfect. So we're going to go ahead and discuss this. This is going to be a flap-up landing. So basically the condition is the leading edge devices fail to extend and the trailing edge flaps are less than 1. The flighting 060 for now. Actually, we'll do 070. So that is what we have. And the objective here is to configure for a landing with leading edge devices retracted and trailing edge flaps less than 1. Do this checklist only when directed by the trailing edge flaps up landing checklist, which we've been directed to. So we're going to go ahead and burn off fuel to reduce touchdown speed, which we went ahead and did. We're going to set VREF 40 plus 55. So VREF of 40 is 135 plus 55. So it's going to be a VREF. It's going to be 190 is what we're going to want to fly. We're going to go ahead and we would run the Q rate. We would run the numbers for this. So let's go ahead and do that really quick, just because that would be something a little bit different here. So let's go ahead and do the landing en route and airport search. It's going to be Los Angeles. We're going to do this on runway 25 right. This is going to be good. Condition is dry. Wind is 260 at 10 with an outside air temperature of 22 and an altimeter of 2991. Got 2991 set. It's going to be, so we want non-normals, and it's going to be, there should be a flap up. All flaps up, VREF 40 plus 55. Landing weight, 135. VREF add 5. Calculate. Alright, so we are going to calculate all of this, of course. That stopped mirroring correctly. There you go, now you can see what we're doing. We're going to go ahead and fly to 160. We're just going to keep flying a box pattern here for a minute while we are getting everything ready for our airplane and get ready to come in with a flaps up landing. It is doing a lot of calculations here. Arrival ILS 25 right. Take shell. From 251, now we've got kind of everything set up the way we want. Kind of hope this thing isn't stuck. 25 right, dry, flap up, brakes all. It's really thinking about it. So we'll keep flying this here for another minute or two. If this gets stuck, we'll try reloading the page one more time and see if we can't get it. So number 4 is check the non-normal configuration landing distance table. Results will be partial. So max So it's gonna be 196 is our VAP. So we're gonna fly the approach at 196. And it's going to be a max manual landing distance, the unfactored distance. We got plenty of distance to stop the airplane, so we're going to be just fine here. We're going to limit bank angle to 15 degrees when airspeed is less than the flap-up maneuvering speed. So we're going to maintain this until we come in for the approach, and then at that point, we're going to limit the bank angle to 15 degrees. And then we're going to go ahead and run the deferred items here. So looking at the ILS, gotta go ahead and set the ILS really quick. Got an app update. Cleared our routing here. Nope, it didn't. Never mind. Okay. Los Angeles. And we got to set up the ILS 25, right? Cool. Alright, there we go. The ILS DA is going to be 304. Alright, there's 304. 251, that's all set. So, descent checklist. Minimums are set. VREF and V target. $191 and a V target of 196. Is set. Auto brake off. Recall. Check. Descent checklist complete. Landing data VREF 40 plus 55, and then minimums are set. Approach briefing is complete. So a go-around procedure review. Do the normal go-around procedure, except limit bank angle to 15 degrees when the airspeed is less than the flap-up maneuvering speed, and make sure we accelerate to the flap-up maneuvering speed. Approach checklist, altimeter is 2991. That's set. And let's go ahead and start turning back towards the airport. Seatbelt switch is on. Engine start levers are continuous. Ground proximity flap inhibit switch, we're going to go to flap inhibit. So Daisy ground proximity flap inhibit switch, and we're going to go ahead and flip that to flaps inhibit. And that's all we got. So that is going to be the ending of the all flap up landing checks. We just do the regular landing checklist, then flaps are going to be 0. 0, no lights. That's the only deferred thing. So at this point, ATC is decided to, we're ready to go. We've told ATC we're ready to go, and we're going to come in. So we're about 20 miles out from LAX. This is going to be the fastest 737 landing I've done in a long time. So we're going to limit the bank angle to 15 degrees. And that is something to note, so we just have to be careful when we're coming in. Like I said, we're going to be flying very, very fast down final here. So we've got that set, and again, VAP of 196. All right, we're almost there. LA's pretty much ready for us. LA's just off the left there. turn us in to capture the localizer and do a flap-up landing. Alright, there's the turn going fly heading of 280, and we'll join the localizer. Alright, and we're just waiting on the glide slot, or we're just waiting on the localizer. So localizer, we're going to go ahead and set that there. We're banking more than 15 degrees, but we're at flap up maneuvering speed, so that is perfectly okay. Lid for the approach, the glide slope is armed. Alright, we're coming up to glide slope. The missed approach altitude is 2,000 feet. Alright, auto throttles are out. Alright, there's our VAP of 196. And we're just waiting on the glide slope. There's the glide slope. Missed approach altitude is set. Stop it. Alright, same thing. We're going to go ahead and drop the gear at about 7 miles, and then I'm going to hand fly the airplane just to get a feel for what it's like flying the airplane at 190 knots. Dude. You're not a part of the emergency. You gotta go. Alright, gear down. Alright, autopilot's out. Alright, and we are clear to land. All the lights are on. Very high sync rate just because of our airspeed. There's 1,000 feet sync rate is 1,000, airspeed is 198, whereas stable for this approach. The airplane's, it's interesting, it's very touchy. Elevator's very touchy at these speeds, which
Approaching
makes sense.
25 right.
Okay, I'm gonna to drop a little bit below the glide slope as we get closer, just because our approach is going to be way flatter than normal. I also need much less power than normal, not nearly as much drag. Approaching minimums. It's minimums.
100. 50. 30. 10.
Oh, and the parking brakes set? Son of a bitch. Yeah, they are. Son of a bitch. Alright, well that's not legit. Parking brakes were fucking set. God damn it. Fuck. Well, that sucks. We did all that. We did all that just to have the parking brakes set. Son of a bitch. Okay. Well, we might want to just try that again. Alright, so we're gonna go long final. Let's do that, and that's good. Alright, so it's going to be an 8-mile final, 2,400 feet for the ILS, 2.5 right. Luckily, all that stuff is going to be set. Clean, and go ahead and move aircraft. Alright, we're going to try this again. We're going to get the airplane moved. And, let's... Plus 55 is 89. Plus 5 is 194. And I'm happy with that. So we're going to go ahead and set this to 94 with the gear down. Alright, we've got control. Alright, there's approach. There's Vorlock waiting on the glide slope. Alright, we're going to practice this again. So we got flaps up. Pretty much everything is set how we need. And we're going to do another flap up landing. Just because we had the parking brakes were stuck on, which was really fucking annoying. So, we are clear to land. All the lights are on. Alright, before landing checklist, speed brake arm to green light, landing gear down 3 green, flaps 0, no lights. Before landing checklist complete. Speed's looking okay.
Approaching 25 right.
A little fast. We want 194. We're getting a hair high, and that's the last thing we want, especially with no flaps. We do not want to get high. It's very, very touchy. We're approaching minimums. I'm going to keep just dropping below the glide slope. That's okay, just purely because of speed. There's minimums. We're landing.
100. 50. 30. 10.
All right, go. Speed brakes are up. We've got 2 in reverse.
Feet remaining.
Landed with plenty of runway left to spare. Interesting view out the window, and there we go. We have we've just done a no flap landing. Go ahead and stop here. Then we'll get ready to do an HGS AII approach. So we're in good shape here. I'm going to go ahead and keep everything the way it is right now. And we're going to get ready for an HGS AII approach. We're going to set it up here. We're going to fly the HGS AII approach for runway 24 right in Los Angeles here. So we're going to set up this approach, and it's HGS only approach, so it has to be hand flown from the final approach fix, which is going to be from Kobe here. We look at the charts here, so it has to be hand flown from Kobe down to final. So we're going to use the heads-up display, and we are not going to be doing any auto throttle either. So we're going to go ahead and set up for that. We'll set up on kind of like a left downwind. Same thing. I might do a quick little 360 to kind of get everything set up in the HGS approach, to get everything all kind of set the way we need. And then we're going to go ahead and fly the HGS AII approach. We're also going to set the weather down to, I'll make sure it's, so we're going to do a we'll do a Cat 3 approach, which is down to an RA of 50 feet and an RVR of 663. So I'll set probably the cloud base to about 100 feet, and we'll fly this down to 100 feet. We'll see how it goes. Let's get it set up. We're going to use FSI panel once again. We're going to set up a runway 24 left in Los Angeles, and select approach ILS 24 left, and we're going to take it from probably that's fine. Position. We'll set up a right-hand vector for a 24 right. Right-hand vector for runway 24 right. And let's go ahead. We're going to go, profile is going to be vectors, flaps 30. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and move the aircraft. All right, it's doing its thing. It's getting ready to move the airplane over to runway 24 right in Los Angeles. sure what it's doing. It's doing a lot of thinking here. Okay. It's doing everything it needs to do to get this airplane set up for the approach. We'll go ahead and AII armed, and we'll go ahead and set a couple of things here in the. We'll go ahead and set a couple things here. So the runway elevation, touchdown zone elevation is 122, so we'll go ahead and set that. And then the runway landing, the runway length is what we need to set here, and that's 8926. So 8926. In the length, 3-degree glide slope is checked. Primary AII is armed. I am happy with all of that. We're going to go ahead and have to change the runway real quick. Go ahead and get the airspeed back to where it needs to be. That's a little bit better. And then we're going to go ahead and set the weather. So let's go ahead and get Strata WX for that. And the weather is going to be sandbox. Actually, we can go ahead and let's just go ahead. We'll do live. Then I'm just going to kill Strata WX. This way it's not even running anymore, and we're going to change the weather inside the sim really quick. That'll just be the easiest way to do it here. So let's grab the weather option. And let's go ahead and set overcast. And let's see here. I've never actually done this here. So we have coverage should be the altitude bottom. Altitude top. Got it screwed up a little bit here, so we're going to see what this does here, but I think I've got everything set. Alright. We've got the autopilot on now. Is there any way we can set? How do I tell it I want it to be like... Let's go ahead and grab approach really quick. Really don't know how to use to set up this weather. I really wish I could get it to... Is there any way I can set up like visibility? Like where the hell do I do... I don't want live weather at all. This isn't doing what I want. Alright. Go back to heading. Alright, how do I do this here? So I want... Altitude top, I want it up to like 7,000 feet. I want the bottom to be... There you go. Alright, that's down to 200 feet. Alright, very good. I think that's gonna work. Auto throttle's just not even on. Can we get the auto throttle on? Okay, there we go. All right, so let's go ahead and rejoin here. Arrival for the ILS runway 24 right approach. There we go. Alright, so we got a glide slope intercept is Kobe at 2200. We're going to maintain 2400 is fine. We're going to maintain flap 5 maneuvering speed. We're at flaps 5. Flap 30 VRF is going to be 142. Plus 5 is 147. Let's go to Kobe on a 251. Perfect. All right. Let's go ahead and reset the HTS. Primary elevation 122, length 89.26. We are good here. Let's go ahead and do the HTS review items. Approach and landing. Approach review items. So we're doing HTS approach. The Cat 3 placard is installed. VHF nav and IRS transfer switches are set to normal, auto. Minimum selector, so we need to do the minimums here. We'll do a Cat 3 RA of 50. So we're going to go to radio 50. Localizer frequencies. So that's going to be, what do we got here? 1085, and that's set on both. The localizer courses are set both. Flight directors are both on. HCP mode is set. Runway length is set. Touchdown zone elevation is set. Brightness, or I'm sorry, glide slope angle is set, and the brightness control is set. So we are good to go. We've gone over the review items for an HTS approach. And we're going to do an HTS approach. Let's go ahead and join the localizer here. Let's go ahead and fly heading of 210. Join the localizer. Better brightness for us. And that's what it looks like down there in LAX. I really wish I knew how to set, like, the visibility. It just sucks. I don't know. I don't know how to do that. I don't feel like there's an option, which is kind of amazing to me. We're going to try this out. Let's see if we can land. So now we're doing an HTSA III approach. Just realized we've been flying around with gear down the entire time. We don't need to do that. There's Vorlock. 251, we are cleared for the approach. Glide slope is armed. All right, there we go. We're about 10 out. And so by Kobe, we got to be autopilot off and auto throttles off, and we're going to hand fly the approach. So we're going to go ahead and check this here. And the auto throttle's off. All right, autopilot off. We're going into AMD. There's the glide slope. Starting to capture that. Let's go ahead and go landing her down. Flaps 15. All right, we got feet rough set. Set the auto brakes to 2. We'll say the runway is contaminated. Flaps 30. Balloons. Just be ready for that. There it is. Our full line checklist, free brakes armed, green light, landing down to green, flap 30 green light, landing checklist are complete. 47 is what we're looking for. And we have an RA of 50, so we can fly this all the way down basically to 50 feet. The missed approach altitude is set. There's 1,000 feet. Sync rate is 600. Airspeed's 148. We are stable. We're in good shape. And a little bit fast. That's all right.
Approaching 24 right.
Everything's really nice. Wind is good, so we're not too bad there. Makes it a lot easier when the wind is good. Slightly low. This sucks. This cloud layer is not thick enough, so I'm going to have to change that. We'll do this probably. We'll do another one in midway, and we'll go ahead and set it up there because it's just not quite right. Way too easy.
100. 50. 30. 10.
A little bit of a long landing, that's all right. And we're in the auto brakes. Auto brakes disarm.
3,000 feet remaining.
right, perfect. There we are. So we're going to go ahead and look at the landing report here. So what we're going to do here is let's go ahead and set this up here so you can actually see what I'm looking at here. So we want to see let's see, where is it at? So something pretty neat that FSI panel does is it does give us a landing report. So we're gonna check that landing report here just to see how we did here. So with an HGS 8III approach, we landed 2-4 right. Our touch on distance was long, so that's certainly something that we have to be watching for with an HGS approach, because we were landing a little long. We were within the limits though. Obviously, deviation for centerline was good. Rate of descent was fine. Bank at touchdown was perfect. Pitch was fine. Maximum localizer deviation 0.1 dots. Maximum glide slope deviation 0.5 dots. Max rate of descent 616. That seems kind of incorrect, but anyways. And disconnected autopilot 2,200 feet. Threshold. Indicated airspeed was 144 feet, and our crossing height was 50 knots, or 50 feet rather. And you can see there's the there's our approach. You can see we were pretty much right on for most of the way there. So relatively happy with that. So very good. We're going to go ahead and set up another one for us here. We're going to go to Chicago Midway. What I'm going to do prior to that, though, is I'm going to try to mess with the weather just a hair more to see if there's not a way, if I make the density like really, really dense. Yeah, can I get this baby down really low? Like, yeah, if I could get it to, like, there. Maybe just toy with the density just a little bit. That should be pretty good. So this should be perfect for an HGS 8III approach. Let's go ahead and set the wind. It's going to be 270 at 8. That's perfect for 31. That's going to be perfect for runway 31 center in Chicago Midway. So let's go ahead and grab the FSI panel, and let's go ahead and get it set up for the approach here. So the airport is going to be KMDW Midway. We're going to go ahead and select that. Select runway. It's going to be 31 right now. And select approach. It's going to be the ILS Mike 31 right. And let's go ahead and set that up in our iPad really quick here. Oops, our air mirroring has killed itself. Thank you very little. Maybe this just is going to work. I don't know. Hopefully that just ends up being nicer here. Let's go ahead and go to our control cam and change the iPad. What's up, Cha-Cha? Change it to... we want the mirror.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully that plays nicer now. Great, so let's go ahead and set up the flight really quick. Cleveland to Midway, and that's pretty much what we're going to use. So we're going to pull the charts for it. Cleveland to Midway, and it's going to be the ILS Zulu 31 center approach. We have to do an HGS only approach, and that gets us our minimums down to an RVR of 30 or 1,200 feet. That only gets us down to 200, so I might have to change that a little bit. But we're going to take this from hills. Altitude 5,000. Hills, that's fine. And heading 318, that's good. We'll go and validate that. It's going to be the ILS Mike. And what do you know? The iPad killed itself again. That's all right. I think it's going to put us at 5. And then let's go ahead and set this to move the aircraft. So that's going to do its thing. It's going to get us all set up. It's going to get everything ready the way it needs to be for the approach into Chicago Midway. Alright, we've got the auto throttles for MCP speed. That's all set. And let's go ahead and set this here. We're at 5,000 just outside of hills. And this is going to be the approach. Let's go ahead and get the gear up. We don't need the gear down for this quite yet. It's a little much. We can also go ahead and get the engine anti-ice off. We don't need that. Everything is set to continuous. I am happy with where everything is here. Happy, there's no auto brakes. Let's go put this back to off, and we're on our way to hills. Perfect, let's go ahead and hold the brakes, and we're gonna get ready for the approach. We can actually just verify everything here. So localizer 1099, that's set 318. The elevation is gonna be 613. And the runway length is going to be 6522. So we've got 6522. Go ahead and set that. It's a 3-degree glide slope, and that's verified. Glide slope at Hobel is 1,700 feet. Everything is looking great. Yeah, I'm happy. Let's go ahead and do this approach. Alrighty, we set up for the ILS Zulu runway 31 center approach into Chicago Midway. And let's go ahead and set to maintain 3,000. And Vorlock. So we got Vorlock. We are going to descend down to 3,000 here. Alright, we are level changing down to 3,000. And we should be in primary. Waiting for AII to come on. That's okay. We're going to leave it like that. And that's fine. I'd like to actually kind of get down below this so we can actually capture it the way I want. So I'm going to get just a little bit of speed brakes going. Just to kind of, I really want to get down here because this already went into AII and I didn't want that. All right, we're 10 out. There's MCP speed altiquire. There's approach. We got flaps 5. No AII. Primary AII is armed. There we go. That should be a little bit nicer. All right, AII is about to come in. There it is. Autopilot off. And the auto throttle off. And now we're good for the approach. All right, we're going to see if we can get this down. We got minimums of 200 feet. I may have set the weather a little too challenging to actually get to down to 200 feet. So we'll see. Why are my throttles not going to idle? It's annoying. I'm going to go down flaps 15. Flap 40 VRF is going to be 140. And everything's set. Let's go flap 25. Flaps 40. Checklist, speed brakes armed, green light, letting it out to green, flap 40, green light, letting checks are complete. Right, we kind of got unstable there dealing with all the lights, but I'm just going to bring it back down. So there's a good chance we actually may not even hit minimums and be able to actually land. So.
Approaching 3, 1, right.
40. I've got Pappies. Approaching minimums. Actually, never mind. We got the runway in sight, so we're in good shape.
100. 50. 30. 10.
3,000 feet remaining. 2,000 remaining.
Slightly long, that's all right.
1,000 remaining.
All right, we'll go ahead and stop here, and we'll check out that landing report. That one wasn't nearly as good. some of the others there. So let's go ahead and check it out. So we're just within limits. Good. Maximum rate of descent 822 feet, 153 feet AGL. So, but maximum localizer deviation 0.1, maximum glide slope deviation 0.6. Above at 2.6. So we did get a little bit high. It was right in this area, right in. But everything else looked pretty good. We'll go ahead and save that baby, and yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this evening. That's enough. That's enough practicing flying for one evening. So that is gonna finish up pretty much day one of. It's gonna finish up day one of our recurrent training. We'll be back up tomorrow with more. So thanks for coming out, guys. Have a good evening, and I'll see you tomorrow.